But I probably would say there's two that center in, and one of them is the kind of work that a few of us are doing around this. What I was talking about, creative theorizing. So I think of Karen Locke, I think of Anne Langley, I think of Martha Feldman, and others. And so Karen and Martha and I do a lot of work together, and that's how do we do not just how do we do creative theorizing where we come up with novel contributions through our analytic work. And how does that happen? That's the thing. Um, it's not just serendipity. It's not, blind leaps of faith, those kinds of things. What is it that, and we're all kind of trying to nibble at that and try to see how it happens from various different perspectives. And for me, one of the things is, and I guess it's really with all of us, but we really, to do this, we have to feel like that we don't have self-doubt, that we can move forward and really have used doubt as a generative resource. Like what not knowing is critical. Now we're taught all through our career to know, right? To know. We learn everything in the literature. We're petrified that we haven't found a gap in the literature, like if somebody knows something about content or those kinds of things. And it's really about trusting and knowing that we are using that not knowing to help spur on. Uncomfortable times it is, but then when you spur it on to an insight where we don't get burdened with self-doubt, then it really is extremely, extremely helpful in discovery, I might say, in generative theorizing. And so that's a piece of it. It frees us. We want to be free, not paralyzed in our analyses. That's I guess how I could say it most concretely. So that's one. And so that's really exciting. The ORM special issue, the PDW, is part of that, trying to work through those. So that's one. And the second one that I know less about, although I've read their paper and I'm just struggling with it in my own writing, is this exciting work by Brian Pentland and his colleagues. And what they do is they take this notion of process multiplicity, and it's this idea, and you can think of it in light of change, or you can think of it in a lot of that there's not one path, but many. And sometimes the path has many paths to it as well. So many means possible paths, or that there's a space of possible paths. So if I'm in a change project and we do things and something happens, it doesn't mean that I stay the course. It can mean, and we're seeing that in studies, right? We know that in organizations where they then change that up. And then that leads to other kinds of things. And they may get an insight along the way. And it's like, oh my goodness, we've evolved our purpose of change now. And we don't, the same thing happens in research, by the way. When we move along, we get insights. And so to me, he has written a piece. I forget the citation of it, but you could look him up, and it's on process multiplicity. And that's pretty exciting. That's theorizing in a way and conceptualizing not just dynamism, but the multiple pathways that people take. And there's no one more suited than Brian and his colleagues to do that, for sure.